Here we go. This is it. Episode 571, No Laugh Track Podcast here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Justin Severson. Get to host this each and every week, including this week with my guest, Michael Palascak. We have not spoken for, oh my goodness, 13 months in person, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, besides last night for a few seconds.
13. So I was here earlier last time.
Yeah.
Wow, because it was cold last time. Now it's night. Now the globe is warmed. It happened.
Yeah, so last time I recorded an episode was last week on Halloween, and we got snow that day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so it's just getting weird, yeah.
Yeah. No, we got some sunshine today. It's not too
and
bad.
And you have children.
Oh yeah.
So did they go trick or treating?
I have 18.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay.
16. She doesn't tell me what she does. It's a mystery.
She leaves in a costume very often.
Yeah. I have a feeling she leaves in one set of clothes and ends up in another one where she ends up wherever she's going. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's just other daughters. And then a 5-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. So absolutely we did.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to talk to you about that because I listen. We got so much stuff.
Okay.
So much stuff to talk about, including that I know. You have a podcast now.
I do have a podcast.
We're going to talk about that you did not have
a
year ago.
No.
I've listened to several episodes.
Oh, that's very nice.
So I know that you talked about Halloween recently on one of yours. And I definitely have some follow-up stuff. And
great.
So we're going to get to that in just...
This is the crossover that everybody was asking for.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. You thought when different strokes and eat is enough, or well, that wasn't it. But,
well, I just saw the Futurama Simpsons crossover last night.
Oh.
So this is very timely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in honor of them.
Season 26.
Yes, exactly.
I'm watching them all.
In honor of them, we're tying things up. Actually, and then I also want to say that I was here last night, of course, and saw your first show of the week. We got to talk about that. That was really fun. It shows the rest of the week. But sure, let's start right there. So I heard from you talking about your new podcast called...
I just got my kid to sleep.
No, what's your podcast called?
No, it's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep.
Come on. Hilarious. What's your kid doing in Minneapolis? No, you've done like 30-some episodes?
Yeah, we just did, me just did 35.
Nice.
Yeah. 35 weeks in a row, I got my kid to sleep.
Congratulations, sir. I know from experience it's not always easy. So you took him around a neighborhood by where you live, correct?
Yeah, so he got invited to a friend's neighborhood that we did at 5. And he was confused by this because, 5-year-olds, they remember like a little bit, and then that's the way it has to be forever. And he was like, I want to go trick-or-treating at night. And I was like, yeah, we're going to go trick-or-treating, and then we're going to go back to our neighborhood and go trick-or-treating afterwards. So we went to like the friends, and they had like a little get-together, and then we went and did ours at night, and it was the most fun ever. That's my new favorite holiday.
And did he wear... I'm trying to remember. I've listened to several episodes of your podcast. There was a lot of discussion about costumes for little Jack.
Yeah.
Which one did he settle on?
So he was Sonic this year on Halloween.
And is this one of those that inflates?
So, yeah, he had the normal one, non-inflating, and then he had the inflating one, which I had never known. And I did not choose this. This was never... Usually, like, when you have a child with someone, you talk about the big things, but this was just ordered. And then I picked up...
he bought it himself.
No, he kind of did. He could, but it was delivered, and then... my son's mom was like, well, you're going to be getting ready for Halloween, so just, figure it out. And I was like, there's a battery here, there's a switch, but we figured it out. And it was super fun and super cute, but it didn't last. Like, those are hard for adults probably, but kids are just like...
That's what I was curious about, because we went out with... a big group. And there was a little kid in our group that had one of these inflatable costumes.
Did it cover his head too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It did. Yeah. It was an alien.
Yeah.
And from the back, it looked like it was a little girl. It looked like her legs were about 6 inches long.
Yeah.
It was freaking hilarious.
Very cute.
But going through the snow, it collected water all night. So she was just like getting weighed down.
Soaked.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend those.
Jack went to school in it, which was really fun and great videos. And then the first trigger, we just had to carry him. And then when we went back to get ready for the second trip of trick-or-treating, I was like, let's just put on the other one. He's like, yeah. And then he just like sprinted through the neighborhood, and it was the best.
And you talked about how you went through a neighborhood where they have a lot of displays and stuff. And
yes.
The yards, the neighbors go all out, right?
Yeah.
And I did something similar. So we moved to Hudson, Wisconsin a few years ago.
Oh, I didn't know.
Which is just, I could leave my house and be in Minnesota in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Very, very close to the border.
Yeah.
It's more like eastern Minnesota.
I almost felt guilty for making you come here.
Oh, my God, I had to buy a ticket. I fly in to do this? No. It's not much farther than where I used to live in Minnesota. In any case, so this I had to work last Halloween, so I didn't get to go out. I missed it. Yeah, and I know that you're looking down on me and saying that because I heard you say that you would never miss, that you wouldn't. You even said on your podcast, no amount of money would get you to miss Halloween with your son.
Because you only get a couple, you know? And sometimes
know.
they get sick. Like we missed one because he was sick. And like I the only reason that was in my head was because my son's mom was like trying to figure out if I'd be. I was like, I'm always going to be on Halloween. I'm always and we do it all together. Like it's not a big deal or anything.
Sure.
But I'm just like, you know, you can celebrate Christmas. Santa can come around the day or whatever.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, kids don't eat food, so it's like. But Halloween and Easter, the Easter Bunny can come whenever. But Halloween is like this is the only time that we can't go the next day.
Yeah.
People are you can't be like, well, I had to work. They'll be like, you gotta get off my property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't bring it up just to make me feel bad for missing last year's.
No, I think you learned your lesson. You felt bad enough on your own.
I did. So last year was our first year where we went around, or my wife took our little one with some other people around Hudson, and they told me about how they go all out. There's several blocks where they go all out. So this year I got to join them for that. And I want to know if where you went in your neighborhood in California is the same as what I did in Hudson, Wisconsin, in that there were multiple homes that gave alcohol to adults.
Oh, wow.
One of them, in fact, had a mystery wheel where you spun the wheel.
Yeah.
The lady serving them was so hammered. She's just like, I don't know, I think it's this one. And just like puts it out on the table. They had like those fancy, like silly syringe shots. They had, the mixed things. I think it was like leftovers from their liquor cabinet. But two different places. Another place I got a root beer schnapps shot.
No.
Are you kidding me?
I got no.
And is
drinks.
this legal?
I mean, that's the thing. I feel like Wisconsin's alcohol intake is much different than Southern California's alcohol intake. Like there were definitely adults traveling with cups where I was like, well, and we were at a party where you could get a drink or whatever and probably travel with if you want to. Yeah. But I didn't see any like open, like the big houses that were huge were so packed that it would be like, there's so many kids around. You could definitely get in tons of trouble if a kid ended up drinking something.
Yeah, apparently one of the local news stations had done a story about the neighborhood thing in Hudson a few days prior. So there were so many people that clearly are still watching the news.
I prefer there's a smaller neighborhood right by us that's like the best because not a lot of kids go there, but a lot of people participate. So they were so happy to see us, and Jack got so much candy.
Do you since you're not home, do you put like a little bucket out and just say like help yourself?
I'm in an apartment building.
Oh, so
I bought candy for that, but I was just like, I don't think anybody's going to come.
What do you think about the because I saw the day after that, the neighborhood pages like on Facebook.
Yeah.
And there were multiple residents of Hudson complaining. And they were even posting their ring videos of the kids emptying out the whole bucket. And I could see why you're annoyed, obviously, but also, what did you expect?
I mean, when I was a kid, our neighbor was a couple years older than me, and he would put a bucket out. And one Halloween, he hid in the bushes and he had a hose.
Stop.
And he didn't hose us because we only took one, and we saw him when we were friends. But I was like, are you really going to drench kids who take more than one candy?
No way.
He must have done somebody. Like, why are you doing that? We're not gonna.
That's awesome. He had fake blood in it.
Yes. That would be great. But yeah, the majority of buckets we saw were cleaned out by the time. Like there was one couple that said they put out a sign that just said someone stole our bucket, which I don't know if it was like a joke or if it was like someone literally stole. But Jack walked up there and he's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Says someone stole our bucket." He talked about it for the next like 20 minutes. I was like, "That's against the rules, Dad.
No.
You can't steal a bucket. That's cheating. You got to take the candy
I love this kid.
out of the bucket." And I was
That's
like,
right.
"You're right." He's like, "We don't break the rules. We follow the rules, Dad." Yeah,
darn right. I like that. I like Jack. Yep. Yeah. Let's follow the rules. Uh-huh. Absolutely. Oh,
it was like an adult whose stock went down, and they're like, "What are they doing?" He's like, "They stole the bucket. You can't." It's like his real issue for the week.
This is the first time he found out that adults aren't perfect.
He's going to kindergarten and be like, "Did they steal the bucket on your block? These kids out there, we got to fix this." I know we can't vote, but someone needs to ask. What are we gonna do about these buckets going?
Oh, that's fantastic. So we started off by saying that the last time we were here was a little over a year ago, and of course we recorded the podcast then. I listened back to it, and one of the things you did mention then it was that you had a podcast concept in mind. And one of the things you said, do you remember this? You were like, mayors are interesting. What if I interviewed mayors in each city I visit?
Yeah, that was an idea I had.
It never got any farther.
Well,
did you even try it once?
I never tried it once. My podcast journey was, my first idea, before the mayor idea, was called Michael Needs Help, where I would just talk and then ask for help. Because I feel like people do a lot of, like, tell me your problems and I'll help you. But I was like, I have problems, so help me. And so I tried it one time, and I was going to do live on Instagram and then have people respond. And I just forgot to hit the live button, so I just talked for like an hour. And I was like, well, this is kind of better. So then I just changed the name and just talked for an hour. The mayor thing is great. I just feel like I don't like all the stuff that you have to do to record. You have to travel and like bring it. What am I going to bring a mayor to my hotel room? Like, that's not legal. Like,
ask Jack.
like, or I go to his office but I think it would be fun. And maybe I'll look back into that since you remembered it, especially.
Yeah, I expect results. Come on. I want something to know.
I didn't know I was going to be held accountable. I'm going to run a marathon next year. I'm not going to say it. Justin's going to bring it back. I was going to feed a whole country.
You said you'd show up with a wallet full of cash.
Yeah.
Show me. One of the other things, this is kind of fun. That was right before Nate Bargatze was about to host SNL for the first time. And now he's already done 2.
He's done 2.
Crazy how fast things move. But this is the big follow-up.
Okay.
You were about to have stuffed animal merchandise.
Yes.
Did that happen?
It did.
It already ran out?
Sold out. They are fantastic. So I have a joke about dogs where they people let their dogs loose and they say he's friendly. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. You know, like they're what are you gonna say, not friendly, you know? The joke's bigger, it's longer, it'll be on the special, but I don't want them to cut it out and just put it out there. So that was me looking at the camera. No, you guys are great. But so I had a dog with a T-shirt that says "not friendly," and we sold out. We every time. And the company's in Dallas, so whenever I'm in Texas, I just sort of like pick them up because it stays on shipping. I just don't know how to. Maybe you have advice on this. The reason I haven't reordered is mainly because I have a shirt that I sell, and so I put the shirt around the dog because I don't know how to like put a dog on stage and then do my set. You know.
Oh, I see.
I feel like people would just be looking at the stuff. I don't think my persona. I'm not as a person a guy who like would just have a stuffed animal with him at all time. So I think it'd be confusing to people. Like, what's up with the dog? And I'm like, we'll get to that at the end of the show when I'm asking for more money. Like, so I just was a little self-conscious about the dog thing. But I'll bring them back next time I'm in Texas. I'll pick some more out.
You have the host walk it out like it's alive. You know? Like, I don't know what happened. Kind of drags it out.
Yeah. But people, you know, they bought them. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When you said it last year, I got very excited. Now you completely missed us here in Minnesota.
I'll order them next time I'm here. Now I really have to.
Son, you got so much following up to do. But you do have the T-shirt. I saw it last night.
Yeah, the T-shirt does really well.
Yeah. And that's super cool. And in fact, I want to leave here with one. I'm going to buy one from you.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to Vegas next week.
Yeah.
And I want to walk around with a shirt that says "not friendly."
Yeah. You should. That's very fun. My shirt before that was "not a stalker," so I feel like this is an upgrade.
Oh, I have that one.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely have that one. I have that one. Did you see the... There's a big news story that's going on in the world this week, but how about the second biggest?
That I'm on the podcast?
Third biggest. Escaped monkeys right now.
Oh, wow.
In South Carolina. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about that.
43... monkeys escaped. I'm dead serious. 43 monkeys escaped from a research center last night, as of this afternoon, they're still looking for all of them.
Aww.
And they're telling people to lock their doors and windows.
Yeah.
And my thought is, well, first of all, what would you do if you lived close to this research center where monkeys are loose and you get a notification on your phone? Like for me, I'm going right by the window and I want to see one so badly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd want to see one, but I don't like little tiny bugs in my house, let alone like seeing a monkey scurry across your floor. Like, imagine. Like, that's crazy. Because they could make more monkeys. We could just have monkeys in this country now.
Or it sees Jack's toys and wants to like play trains or something.
Yeah. Yeah, then you love it. And now what are you going to do then? You can't give it back to the research center.
This is mine, not finders keepers.
Yeah. I've always had this monkey. This isn't the one that you were looking for. Yep, this is my monkey. I didn't know. Yeah, I wanted to have another kid, but we got a monkey. So, on your way.
We wanted a girl. A boy was born, so we'd have now a female monkey.
Yeah, monkey.
Monkey. That's hilarious. I would, I would leave a door open just to see if he would come in.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I
don't want a monkey in my house.
I wanted to compliment you. Going back to the podcast, I just put my kid to sleep. You refer to your.
I just got my kid. I just put my kid to sleep. Sounds like you might have given him drugs.
Oh, you're right. See, when I wrote that down, I went from memory.
Yeah.
I just got or put. Yeah,
I just
got.
The other, when you first.
I just got a kid.
Yeah. Well, it's a tricky title.
I just got a kid to sleep.
I probably could have done different ones. I don't know. I can change it if you want me to, but.
Yours is better. I'm just screwing it up because I do that from memory.
No, some people are like, you should do, like, I thought of like something more like just like shorter, like Father of the Year, and then I talk about how I'm not the Father of the Year. Something like, but like the thing with I just got my kid to sleep was when you're putting it into the websites and stuff to get it out there in the world. Originally, I called it I just got my kid to sleep, but then I put like my name on it as the host, so people would know who the. But then I looked at the title. It says I just got my kid to sleep with Michael Palascak. I was like, well, that's not the brand. We don't want those people watching.
Yes, this is Jim from Protective Services.
No.
Is this Michael?
I'm just trying to be famous.
Yeah, hey, it's worked. There's famous and infamous, Michael.
So now it's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. No host attached. If you know who I am, that's fine. If not, totally fine.
That's true. That's the safest way to look at that. I love that you call the. I don't know if you came up with it or if a listener came up with it, but I heard that you refer to your listeners as sleepers.
They're sleepers.
Which I think is very funny.
I think I might have come up with that one, but actually I shouldn't say that because they might listen and be like, that was my idea. Most of the ideas are their ideas. But yeah, thank you.
That's nice. So you. I mean, it's just you. So you're sitting there talking for an hour basically by yourself.
Stuffed animal, and but I don't really talk to him that much. And like, there's some stuff on the set, but yeah, I just talk to the audience, and then that's it.
Has this made you like? I mean, you've been a comedian, so you're always probably like, paying attention to everything and always keeping notes in your brain about what's going on, right? But are you doing that more now to have content for your podcast, or is it just the same either, because you're always kind of thinking about, could this be a joke? Could this be a story?
You give me way too much credit.
Well, then lie.
I found that with everything, like usually with stand-up, I'm sitting down to think about stuff, but then I became a dad, and I'm just like, well, let's see what happens, and then you just think of stuff and do it.
Yeah.
With the podcast, I usually don't think of anything or write anything until I do one where I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to say, and then for the next week, I'm like, I should probably take some notes, and then I take some notes and I put them on my desk, which is a toilet because I'm in the bathroom, and I'm not going to the bathroom. It's just the farthest room for my child who's sleeping. Farthest. And
is that in the notes? About being in the bathroom?
Yeah. And then whenever I have notes, I rarely use them. I'm just like, whatever I'm usually there's one thing I grab onto. Like I did. So you know how you can tell like who's listening or watching, basically like where they live and how many the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just learned all this, and so I did one podcast where it was like right after my son had lost his first tooth that I got to be the tooth fairy for.
Okay.
And so I started talking about it, and then as I was doing it, I started to realize, oh, kids might listen to this. So then I started talking as if I had to leave money because the tooth fairy just didn't show up and she left me hanging. And so the whole podcast was directed towards the tooth fairy being like, where are you? What's wrong with you? This is your job. And I don't even know if I believe in you anymore.
I heard this reference. Yeah. I didn't get the full reference.
Oh, it's on there. Yeah. and it's like you're doing a stupid job because you put it under the pillow. That's the hardest place. And it's the whole episode is until the last 5 minutes is me being upset at the tooth fairy. And I lost about 10 people. We're done now. Like, we're just like a good chunk of a new podcast listening. They haven't come back. Like, I saw the number go from this number to this number. I was like, oh, I think that's because they didn't want to listen to me talk to the tooth fairy for an hour. So there's not really a good structure yet.
Interesting. You should direct message them and say, I got something for your kids. Santa Claus. Not real. Not real.
Well, it was a very kid-safe podcast. Like, if you were a kid and you would believe in the tooth fairy, like, because you should, you would hear me be upset because the tooth fairy didn't show up.
The Rock, you mean?
Yeah.
The tooth fairy was The Rock,
that's
right?
the movie representation. But yeah. So So I don't really know what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I think with podcasts, it's like you see the ones that are. I don't really listen to any except yours and
Right.
Mark Maron, but who's that guy?
He does okay.
Yeah, but so I don't really know, but I know that like some people, I see the clips or whatever, and I think if you were to seek me out and listen to it, you would enjoy it. But I don't know if it's something that people will like see somewhere and then then love it forever without already being a fan.
Sure.
Which I don't know. It's good and bad.
All I can do is speak for myself and say that, I guess I was already a fan of yours. Now I've listened to it. I like it.
Oh, good. Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
That works. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I absolutely.
No one's telling me to stop.
That's a no BS. I really like it. And another
appreciate
thing I want to bring up from that is you talked about, one of the ones I heard, you talked about listening to music with your son, Jack.
Yeah.
That's what you guys like to do
Yeah, he's
together.
a dictator when it comes to music. Are your children like that?
The amount of times I've heard Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince by
Okay.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
that was first. My wife was a fan. Then it's gone down to my 5-year-old. Now she requests it.
Yeah.
She knows how to ask Alexa to play that song for her. So I hear it quite a bit.
My son will not let me sing. He says no singing. Then I move because you're bored when you're with a kid. You love them, but you're bored most of the time. So you sing, and then he's like, "No singing, Dad." And then I start dancing. He's like, "No dancing." And like my dream someday, he's like, he wouldn't say no sing. He'd be like, "You can't sing, Dad." Like, and this is when he's 2. He started saying when he was 2. No, and my dream is to like someday, like somehow get a song on a show and then win a Grammy. And my speech is be like, "No, I can sing. I can sing, Jack."
All to spite your boy.
I can't sing. But yeah, so when we're in the car, he decides what we listen to. And then I was like, well, I'm an adult. Like I've heard parents to just some boundaries. So I was like, we'll do every other song. You get to pick a song. I get to pick a song. So now every song of his is the Gummy Bear Mega Mix, which is 20 minutes long. And we never drive anywhere longer than 20
That
minutes.
sneaky little.
Sneaky, and it's like 20 songs. It's like a lot of, but I'm just like, well, at least you're funny now. Like at least.
I love that so much. So one of the story I heard you tell on your podcast was
Yeah.
about how you had pulled up a song from Hamilton, and
Oh,
then you had to
yeah.
explain the killing part of the song.
Oh my
Apparently,
gosh,
and
Justin.
now I want your advice on because something sort of similar happened to me, but it
Yeah.
was visual.
Okay.
A few weeks back, I had on my daughter. We had put her to bed,
Yeah.
and then
You put her to sleep.
we freaking put her to sleep. It's called the sleeper hold.
I put you to sleep, girl.
I learned it from wrestling. And you sleep now. And I went back downstairs, turned the TV on. I started watching UFC fights.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then about 45 minutes later, we hear the little tip, tip,
Oh,
tip,
no.
tip, tip. And she comes around the corner,
Yeah.
and she's like still awake,
Yeah.
sees the TV,
Yeah.
and starts watching MMA for
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
And is very confused
Yeah.
on why these people are beating each other up.
Yeah.
And my wife is looking at me like, do something about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like the main event, and I was sort of I'm like, I want to, I don't,
It's fourth down.
exactly. Like there's 10 seconds left on the clock. I'm not turning this off. It was that that
Yeah.
situation. I'm like,
Yeah.
honey, they're not. I didn't know how to explain that to a
Yeah.
5-year-old. I'm like, they're paid to do that? I don't know what the hell that means. I literally said that. They're paid to do that.
They're gonna get ice cream afterwards,
I should have done that. That would have been terrible.
and the winner gets more ice
The
cream.
winner, yeah. The one that bleeds less gets more ice cream. How
Yeah.
would you? I'm gonna guess you wouldn't have MMA on your TV at home.
I'm not a big UFC. Like I'll watch like contact sports when there's like a goal, like hockey or football. But I've never gotten into really like boxing or MMA or anything. So that's not in my world. I try to have an open mind about it, but I don't watch it. I think if that happened, I think with boys, I think it's different though, because I have like Punch Out for Wii, and like we still have a Wii that Jack likes to play all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so we started playing that, and I was like, I think he just understands fighting as a game. So I don't know. Maybe if it was like two people, it would be hard. But I think with it, it's just sort of. I think you would just say it's like a sport, and it looks really scary. But these guys, they train, and this is what they choose to do, and we get to watch it, and I have to question myself as a human for liking such violence. But when you're an adult, you get to, but I'm not going to let you watch it because I don't think this is good for children to watch. But as an adult, I have to deal with you all day, and this distracts me from Why Aren't You Asleep Right Now? You go.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I think you nailed that. I wish I would have had that word for word.
But the Hamilton, so there's this song that was playing, like on 4th of July, they ran it a lot, where there's the King George singing about how he wants to kill all the Americans in like a really funny, like romantic love song. Like, I love you, I'm going to murder you. And I never thought he'd listen to the words. And then one day he's like, why does he want to kill everybody? And I was just like, well, he's a king. He's like, well, are all kings want to kill people? A lot of them do, actually. But then
Even in the cartoons?
those are good kings. And then I had to try to explain the Revolutionary War. And then I had to realize I don't know enough about the Revolutionary War.
Oh, that would be my problem, yeah.
And then I had to realize, that's all they should tell children. And when children are in school and they're learning something and they're like, why do we have to learn that? Oh, because your kid's going to ask questions about it. And you're going to want to know.
Yes.
Because he's like, why does he want to kill everybody? He's like, well, because they were a part of their country and then they moved. Well, why don't they want to be a part of England? Well, taxes? I don't like. Do we not pay taxes? No, we pay taxes. Well, does the king want to kill us? Let's not.
I know. And then you're like trying to throw out the answer that's going to be the stopper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this answer is going to lead to no more questions.
I like the more questions. Because I feel like when it comes to being a parent, that's the only thing that I can really do is sit with my child and go toe-to-toe with him wanting to delay everything as long as possible. Like, I get him to eat good food. That's one thing. But our sleep schedule is on and off. But one thing I can do is I can sit there and I can take everything he has. And so I'm just like, let's keep it going. like we watched some of the election, and we were his favorite color is blue. Whoever's listening, it's not a political thing, but he just loves blue. And so we were looking at the map, and it was, we're in California, so it's 2 hours earlier or whatever. So we go to get food at this crepe place, and he starts asking about the political. He's like, well, who's going to win? I'm like, well, whoever gets the most votes. And then I had to be like, well, actually, it's more whoever gets the most points. Like, each state gets a certain amount of points. And we're in line, and this lady just starts shaking her head. She's like, they better not. like, they better not be a popular winner that didn't win the Electoral College. And I was like, all right. Well, we're just trying to educate a child. I know, but it's not a good system. Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Did you, does he know the result, or are you keeping that from him?
I didn't keep it from him, but he definitely went to bed before they called it. Like, we would look at the map, and I was like, well, and he would just be like, it doesn't look good for blue. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And then they'd show the Senate and the House, and he's like, what does that mean? I was like, well, they're all friends, and they're friends that won't let the other friends do things. But now that they're all the same color, they're probably going to let them do everything.
I love it. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. I also heard you say that he knows one of the things he does to put off going to bed is play chess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to play chess.
Well,
How does your little boy know how to play chess?
Does your daughter watch Bluey?
Yes.
Everything in Bluey comes in because his cousins watch Bluey and they want to play chess. There's a chess episode.
Weird.
And kids see something and they do it. Like, we were watching the World Series, and apparently there's a Bluey episode where they watch a sporting event, and every time something good happened, we had to like dance and be happy. But Jack doesn't know the levels in baseball of things that are good, so the pitcher would throw a strike, and he's like, "Is that good?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right," and like we're like celebrating every ball and strike in my house.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, he likes chess. He likes doing crafts before bed. He'll read a lot of books. Like, everything that he thinks I'll let him do, because he's right. He just tries to do it before bed. Until there's a point where I'm like, well, you could get taken away from me if you stay up much later.
That's fantastic. I know you mentioned that he wanted to, we're going to go to a World Series game.
Yeah, well.
Did you ever look at prices of tickets?
I did look at prices.
But what was the cheapest ticket you saw?
So I when the Dodgers were in 2017, I went, because it was right after Last Comic Standing. I thought it was, going to last forever. And it was, we bought tickets to Game 6 after there was, like, right when you didn't know if Game 6 was going to be a clincher or not. So it was kind of expensive for what the World Series was in the range in 2017, which was like between like 400, and we ended up paying like, I think 750 or 800 per ticket. Damn. For Game 6, when not bad seats, like upper deck, but you could see. Then I looked for Game 1, which is the only one I was in town, and the cheapest was like $1,700. Like, they've definitely gone up in the last 6 years.
Game 1 for this year.
For Dodgers, Yankees in
Wow.
LA. Yeah. And it wasn't like right before the game. I think they go down right before the game.
Yeah.
But it was like not the week out. Like, it was the day before, know. It was expensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see that there was speaking of Game 1, that was the game that Freddie Freeman hit that dramatic
gosh.
walk-off grand slam.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I had turned the TV off because I thought the game was over, and literally found out 2 hours later when I was scrolling through social media, and everybody's like, "Freddie Freeman, greatest play ever!" I'm like, "You got to be freaking kidding me!" One of my favorite baseball memories ever is Kirk Gibson's home run in 1988. Same organization.
Yeah.
And I
I
bailed on it.
There were so many. I had tears. I didn't grow up a Dodger fan. We moved there, but I get to go to games now because it's pretty close.
Sure.
And my kid loves the Dodgers. But as a grown up, I root for the White Sox, which as Twins fans, whatever. You have yours. We're the worst team ever.
You suck.
But as a sports fan, you realize you can be in the moment of a moment. And I do I do cheer for the Dodgers, so it was that too. But when they were losing at the time, it was not even just a tie. They were losing the game, and it was he had been hurt. He had a hurt ankle. So there's all these things.
He was ice cold.
All those things that parallel Kirk Gibson. His kid got sick during the summer, which not only do you have that, but you're missing games and you're behind. And he's fun to listen to talk. And he gets up there and as a performer, as a person, you just see someone before they do it, and then they do it, and you're like, oh, you don't know that he knew, but he talked afterwards, and he was like, well, I just knew I didn't want to be late on a fastball, and I wasn't late.
Yeah, I'd say.
And it was I was crying, but I had tears of the joy that you see when they.
Yeah.
And I'm tearing you see it, and there were so many parallels between that World Series in '88, Walker Buehler in the clinching game walked down to the bullpen, and he wasn't supposed to, he just did that on his own. He pitched two games before, and he was they called him what are you doing there? He's like, I'm gonna be ready. That's what
right.
Hershiser
That's
did.
That's Hershiser,
in '88. So,
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
and he wore Hershiser's jersey for the parade. I think I had worn it before, and
oh, that's super cool.
From that
Did
game.
you see that a fan got a tattoo of that play, the Grand Slam?
No. How did they do it? Of the swing? Of the the thing?
It's a woman, and she got it. It looks like it's on her arm, and it has just like a outline of the base path, and and then it has the number of each player that were on the bases, Mookie, and then the other two players, and then it just has a line going of where the home run hit. It was kind of like a.
That's really cool.
Like an explosion of the home run. Is there? If we were all as humans forced to get a tattoo of our most memorable sports play, what would yours be?
Well. Before you said sports play, I'd be like, well, it'd be my kid being born. But
no, that's too easy. That's too easy of an answer.
I'm trying to think. Most memorable sports. So I only have a couple of championships I've ever cheered for. And they're not my favorite sport is baseball. And I don't know, the White Sox had an 05, but I wasn't in Chicago really at the time. It wasn't a big, but I was just starting stand up. It wasn't my dad's from Cleveland. So if Cleveland had won against the Cubs, that Rajai Davis home run off of Chapman that pushed Game 7 later would have been big. But the most influential sporting moment for me where they won was the team I was rooting for was Cleveland when Kyrie kind of crossed up and hit the 3 to go against Golden State. So I think that would be the shot, And
people would be like, what are you, flat earther? Like Kyrie?
Kyrie is so good.
Does yes, yeah.
He definitely hits the limit. I mean, not anymore, but of being like Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, I shouldn't speak on these people, but I feel when you're really good, you can get away with saying a lot of stuff, and I feel he's evened out. He's really good, and he doesn't say that much crazy.
That's interesting. Yeah. I want to know: does your as you just said, your dad grew up in Cleveland?
I was born in Cleveland. My whole family lived in Cleveland until I was 3.
And have any of you transitioned to referring to the baseball team by their proper name, the Guardians, or do you all still well, we're Indians for life?
It's a touchy subject for me because
here we go.
I was born into an Indians hat, basically. I had one as a young child, and when they went to the World Series and they almost won against the Cubs, that was the hat they wore, which is why I think Major League Baseball made them change because they're this doesn't look good for us.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the population of Native Americans have spoken out and said it's not a big deal, and some of them have.
Right.
And I just have. It's weird to me because Ohio is full of Midwestern people. And it's all there's a sense of being nice and considerate towards others, and I think there's this. They still hold on to it, and the concept doesn't make sense to me that if something hurts someone's feelings, why you wouldn't just change to the thing that doesn't hurt everybody, these people's feelings.
Sure.
And so I still own hats, but I don't wear them, and I don't.
You have to hide them now?
I mean, they're in my closet. It's such a weird thing because we went to a game this year because I was born a Cleveland fan, and when we went to Chicago, I ended up going to more White Sox. So I've kind of like changed, but I still cheer for that, and I call them the Guardians. But like there's kids in my family that have the hat, and I'm just like, as a parent, I don't think you should do that, and I don't think the city of Cleveland. I get if it's like an old thing, but it's even like, I don't know. I just think you gotta get rid of all of it. Like it just seems, for the people that I know who are smart enough to know better, it seems silly that they haven't moved on.
Yeah.
Even if it is like a ridiculous, it's a politically correct thing. It's like, well, I think it's also because some people cared.
Yeah.
I think at least one person.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a history. My high school changed way back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I've been dealing with that I experienced that firsthand many, many, many years ago. All right. We need to, before we wrap this up, we have to talk about that you recorded a special.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming out Thanksgiving
night,
correct?
between the second and third football game is when it's going to premiere on YouTube. After Dallas, the Dallas Giants game is probably, I don't know, maybe it'll be, because there's only like 45 minutes between the games.
The Dallas and the Giants?
They're the second game. Yeah. Right?
Crap, that's a terrible game.
It might be good because they're both struggling. But there's 45 minutes between the second and third game. So I figured like that could be a good time where everyone's, and it's YouTube, so I can choose whenever I want to premiere it. And it'll be on there after that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, on Thanksgiving night, once the Cowboy, probably check out the website, because I'll have a time when it starts, and then you can watch it. And yeah.
Okay.
And I recorded it in the town I grew up in Indiana, at it's like a movie theater, but it's also a theater. It's like holds for 400 people or 500 people, and
do you have a title for this year's saying?
It's called He's Friendly, because of that joke.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Before that, I recorded my last album at this club, and this is one of the best places I've ever done shows at. So it was a challenge to look at this one differently, because also when you do a club, you have like a couple of days to shoot. So we got to pick the best one. And this was just one shot on a Thursday night in my hometown on Valentine's Day, and where, there's some things that happened that like I wouldn't like. They started the show right away, and people were in the lobby, and it was just sort of like, so the opener was like Andy Hendrickson, who's very funny. I think he's done Crash and Burn here.
Oh yeah, he's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Andy.
Andy's great. He was his production company is producing it, so he was just like, I'll open for you, and he doesn't usually open. He's headliner, but he had to go out there. They call it like the sound guy just started the show, and there's like half the crowd is getting drinks, and I'm just like, and he just covered and like made sure everyone was seated. But it was it was a weird juncture, like sometimes you can feel the crowd, they're in it right now, and sometimes you can't. And I don't know if anybody would even be able to tell, so I probably shouldn't even talk about it. but the special is good, and I think everyone enjoys it. There's just like this part of me as a comedian. There's this person where I'm very sensitive to the perception of something I've worked on for a couple of years, because like when you have like when you put out like a clip or a reel, it's like, well, whatever, but this is like the special, and like you hear the jokes do a certain level of laughs every night, or every so often, and then you do it on there, and you're like, well, I don't hear it the same way, but I still delivered it the same way, so people at home might laugh, and maybe they can record it and send it to me, so I'll feel better. But yeah,
send Michael Palascak your laugh at gmail.com.
It doesn't sound quiet. People are laughing. It's just like, I don't know if you have an opinion on this. When you do a special, do you tell the people or do you not tell the people? In your opinion, as an audience member or podcaster?
I would like to know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I think when we did the one here, I don't know if anybody knew, and it was a really hot room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course, we've mentioned it before on here. The one track.
That's why I love it too.
You got I'm
explicit. My album's not on Sirius because of the Vikings fans being upset that they lost to the 49ers in the playoffs. The Packers fans swearing at each other.
No swearing on the whole
I've never
CD.
sworn on any recorded thing ever. I don't never really sworn in my stand-up, but there's screaming Vikings fans and Packers fans screaming back and forth about how much they effing are against another team, that my album has an E next to it for explicit because of the Friday night show. And it's my favorite crowd and one of my favorite parts of doing comedy in my career.
Oh, I mean, forever connected to Acme, the Vikings. It's just
and for people that are sensitive to language, I just think it's really funny for them to, if they wanted to listen to it, then have to be like, oh, that's what they go through. Like,
yeah, right.
That's what comedians live with. Like,
yeah,
it's for everybody. It's not just for people that,
It's very real.
Yeah.
It's very real.
That's the
that
thing you
happened.
want. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's put a bow on this thing.
Yeah.
So you still have more shows this weekend.
Uh-huh.
People ought to come out for that.
Yeah. And I have a football if anyone wants to play catch.
That's right. Let's see. The MC's Grant Winkles this week. He's super funny.
Mhm.
Who was the feature? I'm trying to remember right
I
now.
just met everybody yesterday.
Huh?
And I was very.
Oh, yeah, Amit Khalaf was the... Oh, my
Yeah.
God, yeah. His set was super funny last night.
Here's the funny thing about.
Oh, he was very funny last night.
Yeah, they're both great. Grant, I got here like right before the show started, like about 10, 15 minutes. So I didn't get food or anything because I was just like, well, I'm gonna go on stage. But Grant ordered food and he was the host, so the staff, whenever I went to go get water, they were like, "Did you get your food?" And I was like, "Okay." All white guys don't look the same. Like there's not like this isn't. We're not the same. Like that's the other white guy on the show. I know you were like, oh, the white guy needed food. No, I'm not that guy.
Thank you very much for doing this, Michael Palascak, the other white guy.
On the show tonight. That's
Yes, yes. Anything else
you.
you want to be mentioning?
Well, I just want to say that this is what I look forward to when I come to do these shows. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do this again in a year or less.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're the best.